Welcome to NEXTGames Ambuscade series, June 2023 against an Uragnite. Now we last saw this run exactly 2 years ago in June of 2021. Now there have been no changes to the run since that time, but I have come up with some new strategies to speed up your runs, as this particular month's runs can take some players up to 15 minutes to take on, which is unusual for a Volume 2 Ambuscade. Let's go ahead and get into what's involved. First, key item acquisition. For this month's key item, you will need 1 Aquan kill for your first run of the day, and 3 for any additional runs in that same day. Now for these kills, I like to home point warp to Boyhida Tree, where it's just a short distance to find many crabs that can get you this key item. If all the initial area crabs are defeated, go ahead and drop down any of the waterfalls nearby for a bunch more spawns. Now in regards to the run itself, this month's run, as previously stated, is against just a single Uragnite that poses very little risk to you and your trust. But that does have a very high defense, which is why this run takes people so long. Now the Uragnite already starts with that very high defense, making it so your standard attacks hit for well less than 100 damage, and weapon skills only for 1 to 3,000 damage. Skill chains are also very poor in their damage on this Uragnite, making it quite difficult for you to get at your damage. Now the most effective way I've found to do damage is through the use of Magic Burst, where I can normally do 5 to 8,000 damage per burst. Due to this, the most efficient way I recommend to do your damage is by getting in a 2-step Magic Burst to make a light or dark skill chain, followed by a dual Ice or Thunder Magic Burst. Now if you're unable to do any Magic Burst with the job that you're currently on, your fight is going to take quite a bit longer, and I suggest you find the weapon skill that you have that does the most damage and just spam it. Note, those kills are normally going to take you over 10 minutes just because of your lack of Magic Burst damage. Now in regards to the abilities you're going to see during this run, none of them are really of any threat, but you want to make sure that you look out for the abilities of Venom and Gas Shell. Note that this ability is going to be called Cursed Sphere in the log on the video you're seeing right now, but normally it's going to be called one of the Shell abilities. Now this ability will normally poison everyone in range and cause the Uragnite to go into his shell. Now make sure you have a trust with the ability to get rid of poison from both you and your party, as the poison that it inflicts upon you is quite potent. Now when the Uragnite goes into his shell, he's going to stay there for close to a minute, and during this time, all forms of damage will do under 10 damage. So this is a good time to rebuff and reapply any enfeebles to the Uragnite. Now the amount of times that he uses this shell ability and what triggers it used to appear very random in our previous runs 2 years ago, and after a full month of runs, it still appeared to be very random. However, today I tried a bunch of new strategies, and I seem to have stumbled upon one of the possible triggers for all of these shell abilities. In my many runs today, I noticed that anytime I used a full party of trust, he would often use the shell ability 2 to 5 times during the run, dramatically slowing it down. However, I noticed that when I went in with only Sylvie, he never used it more than once, and sometimes not at all. I noticed that the same behavior was there when I soloed it without any trust at all, and in 3 of my 4 solo wins, he didn't use the ability a single time, and on the 4th one, he only used it once. After noticing this, I built my new strategy around using as few trust as possible. Therefore, I went in using only Sylvie to make sure I was haste capped so that I could continually dual Magic Burst after every 2-step light skill chain, and then I simply repeated that over and over for my fastest wins of the day. Now on runs when he didn't get to use Shell at all, I was able to get a win in as low as 3.5 minutes, and when he did use Shell, wins normally took only about 4 to 5 minutes, which was a marked improvement over our runs 2 years ago. So if you find that he's using the Shell ability on you a lot this month, try reducing the amount of trust you're using, as it appears to have made a positive effect in my sample size of runs. Let's go ahead and see how the last 30% of this run goes after Kari has come out of his shell. That's going to be it for the June 2023 Ambuscade. I hope you found that helpful. If this is your first visit to my channel and you enjoyed the content, please be sure to click on the subscribe button under the video and the bell icon next to it to be notified when my future videos are released. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next month. Stay safe and stay healthy out there.